Hello and welcome to Talking Good Games. Just finished at Wembley. Spurs 2, West Ham 3. That's right, 2-0 down at half-time. And we've somehow done it. We're in the quarter-final of the League Cup. I'm joined by Tom, and we're going to discuss the whole 90 minutes, the first half and the second half, a game of two halves, as they call it. And then we're going to have a little bit of analysis at the end. We want your reaction as well, but I'll tell you at the end on how to get involved. Tom, we don't have to wait long. 5 minutes. 1-0 Spurs.
Yep. Disappointing. Absolutely. I guess what was said at half time from Pardew on the Sky Sports commentary, if one defender commits himself out, especially with three at the back, you leave the other two open. The wing backs can't get in enough time. And Sissoko just had a straight run through in on goal. And just what we all thought would probably happen, which was, we were going to be balls to the wall in the first 5 minutes and Spurs scored. And it wasn't the greatest of defending, really, was it, for that first goal?
No, I'll tell you what is Ayew doing? He's literally on the other 18-yard. He's one of the three centre-backs tonight, and he's somehow found himself another 18-yarder. One touch by Llorente, one little flick, boom, our whole defence was gone. But this is what Spurs do. This is what we've seen at London Stadium when Carroll gave the ball away, two or three quick passes, and Kane had the ball in the back of the net. The exact same thing happened here. We lost the ball, one or two quick passes, and bang, it was in the net. 1-0 Spurs. We're going to skip forward to 38 minutes already. We're not going to discuss. We'll go over the whole half as a whole, and that's what it was. 2-0 Spurs, Tom.
Yeah, I think it's you highlighted Ayew there for the first goal, but I think Ayew again for the second goal. He's made such a rash decision to come forward and try to almost go straight to the ball to Ali, whoever it had on the exit of the box, and he's just left a huge gap. And unfortunately for Declan Rice, it is taken a massive deflection. But once again, Ayew made a rash decision to put the rest of the defence, at risk for that, and he's opened us up for something, like that to happen. So, yeah, but it was really, I feel really unfortunate. Obviously, it couldn't, of all of the people it could have happened to, the youngest one it would have been to. But yeah, unfortunately for Declan, it's clattered him off the side of the head, and it's gone, curled round Adrian's left arm.
Yeah, I can't agree with you more there, really. I think Cech has to sort of look at himself and think, what are you doing? Rice, he has to go for that, Declan Rice. He has to put his head, try and get his head. In all honesty, that's what we've been missing a lot of games. Players willing to put their head in the way of shots and stuff, and their whole body, etc. Rice is just throwing what body part he can. It comes off him, goes in the corner. Another day that goes around the other side of the post. Everyone said it's a fantastic block by him. Anyway, half-time, 2-0 down. What did you make of the first half's performance, Tom?
Listless, lifeless, no energy, no pace. Passing, it was just appalling to watch, mate. I mean, I felt as if we had no identity. If that's a word to say. The biggest identity crisis since Sam Smith didn't know if he was a man or a woman when he woke up this morning. But it was just. There was just nothing there. The passion was gone. The players, they didn't look like they were playing for Bilic, and it was awful, mate. We needed a rebound after what happened against Brighton, and we looked even worse if that was possible in that first half. Spurs were in second or third gear the entire time. They were quite happy to defend quite deep, allow us on. We didn't hardly register a shot on target in that first half. But then when they came on the break, we were defending our own 6-yard box, and they were just playing 1-2s, quick passes, opening up, and it was absolutely appalling. And like I said, if you wanted a bounce back from the other night, that wasn't the way to do it. And to be honest, when we went in at half time, it could have easily been 3-4-5, nil by full time, especially after what we've seen.
Yeah, it was just a continuation of the Brighton game. Actually, it looked like it was just a third of us against Brighton, really. That first goal was just basic. Yes, credit to Spurs, a very good goal, but it's just basic. All our defenders just stand there watching the ball get pung about, and before you know it, they're running 40 yards back to their own goal and not able to keep up with the play almost. Andy Carroll was really getting on my tits in the first half. He was the one player, every time I seen him, his effort, he was waving his arms about without actually moving. That's the only part he was moving. His arms, his legs weren't doing anything. His demeanour was almost insulting to West Ham fans. I would not have blamed Bilic if he subbed Andy Carroll on the half-hour mark. If he'd said, right, that's it, enough you, ponytail, get the hell off the pitch. You ain't doing it. Get off the pitch. I felt a bit sorry for Lanzini. Quite often I thought he was running and there was just nothing. Carroll just standing watching. There was a few instances in the first half, 4, instances, someone made a good run. Now, it varied. Ayew made a good run at one point. Lanzini and Creswell made one. The person with the ball was facing that player, but they bottled it all 4 times. They didn't even gamble. They did not try and find him. They just turned around and went for the safe option. That's where we're lacking in the first half. Now, the stat you might remember from Friday night, when West Ham have been 2-0 down the last 75 games, we've gone on to lose 73 of them, winning just one and drawing just one. But second half, Tom, no changes in personnel, no changes in tactics. We still played the 5-3-2. The wing backs got further forward more often, but there was one change: the attitude. And we didn't have to wait long for Andre Ayew to make it 2-1.
Yeah, it was. I mean, I'd love to know what was said at half time. I don't know if that's a Bilic thing, or assistant manager, or maybe even Noble is laid into the players at half time for the first half performance. To be honest with you, I'm surprised, as you were, that he didn't make a change, that he didn't bring Carroll off in that second half, because I thought, like you said, he was woeful. His first touch was appalling, and offers a different option and give us something else the second half. But somebody has clearly said something to motivate the players. They went at it in the second half. For that first 15 minutes was absolutely exceptional, and it just frustrates the living crap out of you that you can't see that from minute one. You know, like I said, we wanted that bounce back win. Why don't we see that from the first minute? Why is it taking us 45 minutes and a bollocking from someone in the dressing room to have that? But you know, great build-up play in the first goal, and you know, a stinging shot from I think it was Fernandes from the edge of the box, and Ayew, right place at the right time, like he has been the last few seasons for us, or last season, should I say? You know, some of his goals have been, you know, tap-ins and poaching. Great effort from Fernandes. We've reacted first and quickly, which is surprising, seeing how we were in the first half. And we've reacted first, we reacted quickly, and it turned the game around, put Spurs straight onto the back foot.
Well, 5 minutes later, if it wasn't already a party time in the end, it definitely was now. As Andre Ayew got his second, this time from more good work from Lanzini. He had to fairly wrestle defenders twice his size to get the ball down inside that 18-yarder. He put it into Ayew, bang, in the back of the net, just outside the 6-yard box for a change, 2-2. And then we thought, what's going on here? The players were fighting for each other. The players were grafting. The players were working as a team. We saw a team. And then we saw the team in the celebration for the third goal. 3-2, Lanzini corner, Ogbonna header. Tom, 15 minutes, I think it was, from the first goal to the third goal. 3 goals in 15 minutes.
And unbelievable. And like you said, it was nice to actually see us playing as a unit, as a team. Now, can I say that was a win at halftime, that Bilic has gone through the tactics and said, we need to do this, and that? I don't think it was. I just think it was pure passion. It was just... Like I said, like you said, the celebrations after that third goal, it was almost just like relief. I mean, for the second goal, Lanzini plays an absolutely a gem of a ball back into Ayew. Obviously, doesn't happen without him. It's a fantastic ball. And then the third one, Ogbonna rising up, great glancing header into the far corner. So it was just like I said, it was relief, but it was just fantastic to see the team playing as a unit and as one again. And you could see especially what it meant at full time as well. And you know, the way that Rice was celebrating with the fact, you know, it just, like I said, I don't know if that is something that Bilic has gone in an earmark to half time and said we need to do this, this, and this, or it's just the fact that the players together just showing that pure passion. I think there was even a point in the second half with about 15 minutes to go when it was like almost like a mini players meeting on the pitch, people actually talking to each other, wanting to, you know, I think it was Carroll, Ayew, Noble, Creswell, all just talking, you know, and it's just nice to see that. You know, where's that been for the past few weeks? Where's that fight been? And you know, an absolutely amazing comeback, especially for the travelling fans to get that third goal and go on to win the game.
I think he did one change at halftime. I think those fullbacks got up a lot more in the second half than they did in the first half. But when you're 2-0 down, especially in the cup, you literally have nothing to lose. It's a case of, well, we might as well just go from sort of 5-3-2 to sort of 3-5-2. Bloody hell, I can't even do my sums here. But Byram and Creswell got forward a lot more, and that made a difference. But it is the attitude, like you said, it was that talking point. Another changing point for me, the turning point, was when Son got injured. Martin Noble, I don't know what happened, but Martin Noble kicked off about something anyway, and it sparked a little melee. But that's exactly what we were missing in the first half. There was 0 tackles going in, there was 0 heart, 0 commitment, nothing. But then that little thing happens, and you fast forward to the third goal. That celebration, Adrian was up celebrating. There's a video, someone's took a video from the crowd footage, I think, and you can see all the fans go mental. Adrian goes bombing past it all the way up to joining the celebrations. Literally all 11 players are there, and you're watching this thinking, not just the first half. Brighton, the last 18 months, arguably, this happens in patches and spells, and it's confusing because it happened at Burnley, but didn't happen against Brighton. Didn't happen in the first half, but it happened in the second half. So why is it they're only turning up for parts? Tom, does this sort of throw confusion your way as to whether Bilic has lost the dressing room or not? I mean, at halftime, everybody rightfully would have said, yeah, he's completely lost it now. He has to go tomorrow. But we've just beaten Spurs 3-2 at Wembley, which is their own patch. Those players, were they playing for Bilic in the second half? I mean, what do you make of this?
I don't think they were. I think, I mean, obviously, I don't know, you didn't see it at the end. I stayed on just before we came on, and I watched Noble's exit interview on the pitch after the game, and he said to the cameras that he backed the players and he backed the squad. And it was interesting to see, and I know we spoke about that's just his demeanour in the past, but it was just, there just seemed something different this evening from that reaction that he gave. And it's funny because obviously Ogbonna scored the third goal, and we know that there's been talk of, almost there's Ogbonna and Bilic, bashing at heads, and it was interesting to see the reaction, especially like you said, Adrian running past, and I think it was almost just the players really in that second half that came together. We all earmarked in the preview that we needed Noble starting this game, somebody that wouldn't mind putting in that challenge, and I just think looking at that, it was like a relief for the guys. Not with Bilic, it maybe if they'd have run over and celebrated with Bilic or something like that at the end, but do you know what I mean? It was interesting to see. It was all amongst themselves. They were celebrating, a relief for them, not for the manager. So I can't very well say that it was for him or he's had an impact on it, because like I said, I think it was just there's been a lot of pressure heaped on those guys the past week as well as Bilic, but it just seemed more like a squad effort. There's something still that doesn't seem right in there with Bilic, and obviously we can't speak about what's happened at half time because we don't know who said what. But those guys look just ecstatic that they were finally playing to a level that they should have done.
Yeah, I mean, what we'll say, I think he's in the second half the tactics were spot on, but the first half the tactics were all wrong. But yeah, it was the same sort of formation and stuff. It doesn't really make sense. But like you said, they were fighting for something, whether that was each other, whether it was the manager. Doesn't add up, and there's one or two players in that starting 11 who you probably would not put money on to fight for Bilic themselves. Like you said, Adrian. Well, not so much Adrian. He's a professional. He just wants to play football, really. I don't think he's ever had a problem with the manager as such, but Ogbonna in particular. But it just throws up questions like, how can they do that against Brighton and then do that in the second half against Spurs? Where has it been? But like you said, they have come in for a lot of criticism. They did have this crisis meeting where Ginger and Noble took it, and Bilic said he didn't attend and he left it to play. He knows what was said, but he said he doesn't need to commentate on it and stuff. So maybe they were playing for Mark Noble, maybe they were playing for their captain, maybe it was him that said, right, you lot out there, you're getting your sort of your professional status as a West Ham player questioned by West Ham fans. They sang their hearts out tonight, by the way. Those fans were absolutely amazing. So it's a win, and let's make no bones about this. We were absolutely fantastic in that second half. We're delighted to get the win. It just throws up more questions about the manager somehow, that win. And he gets a stay of execution for one furthermore game, Tom.
Yeah, it's just when it went to 2-2, you kind of just knew that was going to happen, didn't you? You knew that he was going to pull out a bag. He's always done it. Whenever he needed a result, he's always pulled a result out of the bag. Am I happy that we've won? Of course I am. I mean, we've just beaten Spurs 3-2 after being 2-0 down at Wembley. It doesn't get better than that. But it stays his execution for one more game, and I still think it's best that he leaves as I don't want him on as manager. I don't think he can take the team further than he has done. So on one hand, yeah, it's like, yes, fantastic, we've won. But at the same time, it has stayed his execution potentially for another 3-4 weeks, maybe till Palace at the weekend where we should be winning. So on the one hand, it's happy and elation, but on the other hand, mate, it's more frustration because it's just another couple of weeks that he has to try and turn it around, in which we probably know we won't get anywhere, won't succeed any further. So, I mean, I'm delighted, but bloody hell, it's just frustrating once again that he can't, that he's going to stay on for another few weeks.
Well, I'm not so frustrated as you, because at the end of the day, the time to get rid of him was Saturday morning, Sunday maybe. It didn't happen. He got, if you want to call it backed, or if you got what I call it, the board chickened out of sacking him, with the two, whatever you want to call it, he stayed. He's done his job tonight. The players have done their job tonight. So he rightfully remains in charge for his Crystal Palace game. But this is the thing. I put out a tweet on the Sunday, I think it was. I said, you know what's going to happen? We're going to beat Spurs. We're going to drop Palace. We're going to get thumped by Liverpool. And the whole thing's going to start again. Everyone's going to kick off. And he's going to get another 2 or 3 games. And he's going to get another result here, another result. And we're just going to stumble through until May. And then it's all going to come to an end, which we all know how it ends. But let's start talking about 1 or 2 players. Declan Rice, young kid, youth academy, right in the heart of defence. He wasn't just centre-back. He was right in the middle with Kouyaté and Ogbonna on either side. You could argue that's the right thing to do, so he's got 2 experienced defenders. Or you could say that that's the most important role of a back three, which in my opinion it is, because you're the eyes, if you like, them to rely on you seeing things, because you shouldn't really be marking a man. What did you make of his performance tonight?
I thought it was fantastic in the second half. Obviously, he had a couple of unlucky chances that probably went against him in the first half. His more experienced players haven't exactly helped him out, and the light will obviously shine on him being the youngster that, you know. But no, that second half I was really impressed. His composure was there, and he played a lot more like that player that, you know, had been earmarked during the week by Terry Wesley, saying he's one of the best young defenders, you know, in world football at the minute. So I thought he was absolutely fantastic in that second half. You could see what it meant to him at full time, that relief, that elation you saw when he went over to celebrate with the fans. So yeah, for me, he was fantastic in that second half. And it was good because we saw when he made the mistake at Newcastle, he was yanked off at half time. So actually, credit to Bilic for sticking with him in the second half. He could have quite easily brought Fontaine or someone else, but he stuck with him in that second half. And he paid off. I thought he was absolutely class in that second half, mate.
We'll get thinking about 2 or 3 more players you'd like to pick out yourself. Because it's man of match time in a minute. Before we get to the man of match, you guys at home, let us know what you think. What did you make of the performance and the result? Let us know in the comments below. Subscribe if you're new. We're giving away a signed Lanzini shirt. All you have to do is comment below your favourite Lanzini moment. Also, drop a like on the video if you've enjoyed it. West Ham are in the quarter-final draw tomorrow. But Tom, you could say there was 11 players out there who started pathetically almost, but they ended as heroes. And let's make no mistake about this. This night's going to be remembered for a long time. I don't care what people say. They can say, "Oh, it's your cup final." Come the end of the season, maybe it would be. It might very well be the best game we'll have this season. We don't know yet. But give us a couple of players that impress you and your overall man of match, please.
I thought Adrian was superb at times tonight. Staking his claim again as to why he should be #1 keeper. That'll be probably a debate that we see for the next, couple of games. Is he too good to be sat on the bench? I thought Byram in the second half, I thought he was better, like you said, when he was able to actually go down and bomb down the wings a bit more. We saw a little bit more from Byram. I thought Cresswell was good in that second half. That's the thing. It's because it's quite contrasting as to how we saw first half to second half. I thought Noble was good. I thought Carroll was shite the entire game. But for me, I think, actually even Fernandes, I think the second half, it was good to see him actually finally get back on the pitch and play again, because it's probably been a while since we've seen him potentially looking at his best. So, but for me, I think there's only one man of the match today, and that's Andre Ayew. And I loved, actually, Lanzini as well, quickly say, special mention, 2 assists, fantastic ball for the second goal. But for me, definitely Ayew, man of the match. I think he was obviously vital in getting those 2 goals. And you can see what it meant to him, because he's not exactly had the easiest of runs the past few weeks. He's had it difficult. He's been on the bench. He probably potentially felt like he should have been playing. I'm glad I said that he should start in the preview, by the way, because that was my choice to have up front. And he paid off, and he was absolutely fantastic in creating those second goals. I mean, fair enough, at half time, I'm pretty sure, checking Twitter, nobody wanted Andre Ayew to ever put on a West Ham shirt again. So the contrast is just absolutely, it's mind-boggling as to what was said at half-time to get people to play like that. So, yeah, between Lanzini and Ayew for my man of the matches.
Yeah, see, the thing with Lanzini is he has to almost put in a 10 out of 10 to get a man of match from me, because I expect so much of him. So tonight, while he did well, it's sort of what I expect of Lanzini these days. So that's the thing. I thought Fernandes was brilliant. I think he is one player. You spoke about the Newcastle game. Fernandes was awful that game. Absolutely awful. And when he stayed on when Noble got subbed and the away end was booing at the fact that Fernandes stayed on the pitch, he was brilliant tonight. Absolutely fantastic. I can only echo what you said about Andre Ayew, though. I've always liked him. I've tried to defend him as much as I can on this channel because I've always said the only problem is he doesn't have a position. Tonight, I thought he almost had a free role. He was going from left to right, from backwards to forwards. Maybe that is his position. Maybe he has to have the free role. And Lanzini sort of has to play a little bit deeper in order to allow Andre Ayew to be on the pitch. But even taking away his 2 goals, he was brilliant. He was grafting in the last 5-10 minutes. People talk about, are we fit enough? This is the other thing. You watch that last 5-10 minutes. We were fit enough. No, Mark Noble chased a ball down in the last very minute from 20 yards out to bloody halfway down the Spurs half. There was no need to chase it, but he did it. Andre Ayew was still running about. So this just, I think they are fair enough. It's just their work ethic sometimes. I mean, you could argue in the first half, though, they didn't really do much, so they had plenty of effort for that second half. But I thought Andre Ayew was fantastic, and I thought Fernandes, they're the 2 I'll pick out. Is my man of match was Ayew as well, though. But anyway, you guys at home, let's know who your man of match was. Anyone that impressed you? Tom, last question. The channel's Crystal Palace previews tomorrow night, Thursday, 8:30. We've got a new guest on who's never been on the channel before, but you'll know exactly who he is if you're in the West Ham social media type world thing. Tom, just very, very, very quickly. We've won tonight. We play Crystal Palace on Saturday. Does Bilic have to pretty much pick the same 11 again or make 1 or 2 changes at most? Do these players keep the shirt?
I would, but he's not going to. I genuinely don't think Carroll deserves his place for the next month or so. I think what with the red card in his performance tonight, the past couple of games, he's done nothing to warrant to start. Obviously, Lanzini stays in. Ayew, I think, maybe potentially gets a role with Hernandez. He gets the chance at play maybe behind him or off of him or in that freer role, like you said. I think we've got to get Cresswell. He's got to stay in for instead of Masuaku. Didn't impress me last game, but we know he has spate of quality sometimes. But if we can stick with that core, like I said, Noble, I think definitely has to start. And actually just having Declan Rice in there as well. I'd love to see him play every week. I really would, but I just know that's not going to happen because Reed, Fonte are going to come back in and Ogbonna might get the start again at the weekend. So there's a few players I think that deserve their shot after this week. But obviously, at the end of the day, it's all down to who Bilic chooses, and I think he's going to have probably a small reshuffle before the weekend, unfortunately.
I'll tell you what. There's a reverse way of doing that. Instead of who deserves to be dropped, for me, it's a case of who deserves to come in. There's only one player, Zabaleta. The rest of them haven't done enough in order to warrant it. What I will say in defence of Andy Carroll, just quickly, in the second half, we were winning at this point. We had a free kick went in the box, and the ball come out very quickly. There was no less than 6 West Ham players busting an absolute arse to get back to the halfway line ASAP. Andy Carroll was one of them. So what I will say is he did up his game in the second half. Unfortunately, the goals came pretty quickly, so our attacking play decreased dramatically for the last 25 minutes of that second half, so we didn't really see it. But, right enough. I'm not going to go to praise Noble too much because I do it every bloody show anyway, but I thought he was just... Honestly, if people can't watch that and don't see what Mark Noble offers, I'll give up. I'll never be able to change their mind. But anyway, thank you for joining us. Gio, Tom, Hammers Chat, West Ham are in the draw for the quarterfinals. The West Ham fans sang, sack the board, but in the end they were singing when Tottenham fucked it up.